All right, you heard my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets. Davis has been unable to pirate the film, and I do encourage all of you to not go see it in theaters and to find, if you want to see it, find other means of watching it. Because Marvel needs to be humbled a little bit, so they start making good movies and good shows again. And so how did Shang-Chi do? Because the sort of the marketing blitz behind it, Marvel really, they threw all in for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets. I mean, you could not go anywhere without seeing marketing. Heck, Shang-Chi threw out the first pitch at the Giants game and then did a backflip. I don't know. Marvel is posturing that they're doing backflips after seeing the box office results of all of their hard work and all of their laboring that they did. And the star of Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, is also sort of pointing the finger at all the people that would say Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets would flop. He did it on his Instagram story and all that stuff. And so, yes, Marvel is acting like they are claiming victory. But the actual reports is that Shang-Chi made $75.5 million in its opening domestic weekend. And that is good for, ladies and gentlemen, adjusted for inflation, the third worst MCU debut in history. The third worst. It only beats out The Incredible Hulk and Ant-Man, which I'm actually surprised that Ant-Man did so bad in its opening weekend. But
wait a sec. I saw a post in our Discord, which is bestdamnerdshow.com/Discord. Join
very
that
good
conversation.
Shilling. You should get a job at Marvel PR.
There was a meme that showed the total take, and maybe this was first weekend that you were just talking about, but I noticed the second lowest was good old Cap.
Again,
Avenger.
Davis, if you as somebody that works in education as you do, Professor, adjusted for inflation.
But anyway, I mean, this was like a couple years after Hulk, and it wasn't that much more than that. So, I mean, how much inflation was there?
Enough to where the actual numbers are what they are, and this is the third worst box office debut for an MCU film, Davis. Those are the numbers. That's the fucking news. And you can try and cook the books however you want for the Legend of the Ten Bracelets. I know a lot of sort of shills out there are trying to include the Monday as its opening weekend gross because of the Labor Day holiday and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. That's why they're trying to take a victory lap. They so desperately wanted this to be a raging success story, and it's just not. The third worst MCU debut in history. I wish it was the absolute worst. I want it to be good. And I was thinking about this. It's like, because I am happy that it did so poorly after I saw it. If it was good, I would wish it all the success. And I have a track record of supporting things that I think are really good multiple times in theaters. But after I see it, it is weighed, it is measured, it is found wanting. I will root for this failure because, again, Marvel needs to be humbled. A lot of these production companies, a lot of these franchises that need to be sort of brought back down to earth here, start making good content again. So, yeah, the third worst, Davis.
I mean, it is COVID. You're not going to give like a little bit of an asterisk?
Davis,
I'm not saying it's not bad, but it's, there's Davis, a little bit of a handicap on it,
You of all people, you've been going to see movies throughout COVID.
I'm a degenerate. There's a lot of us out there. Not enough.
Trust me. The MCU fan base that just sucks every new one off and just waits for the next one, they don't care. They don't care. And so the fact is that they couldn't rally the base. The MCU base that still wants to go slurp everything Marvel, the third worst debut for an MCU movie ever. That's just the facts, man. Like the movie theaters are open, Davis, and not only I would argue this other point is that the movie theaters are open. Marvel rules the film roost right now, definitively, and that's something that you have to take into account too. Is that Incredible Hulk and Captain America and Thor, those other ones when you don't adjust for inflation, early MCU films that the shoulders that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Bracelets and Black Widow are standing on the shoulders of what the world building that those movies established and others like them. So you take that into account and put that in your pipe and smoke it. However, so movie theaters are back open again, and Marvel rules the film roost. With theaters back open, there aren't like that many tentpole pictures coming out right now, too. So they should have even more of the market share cornered. I would argue the opposite. So it should have done better, not worse, because there's nothing else to go see. I fucking saw Candyman. It sucked.
Candyman. I mean, numbers are higher than ever in COVID. Sorry to bring it down. So
our movie theaters closed.
But
our movie theaters closed. Are more or less people vaccinated now than before? More. The movie theaters are open. There are fewer, but yet still, this is the crown jewel at the movie theater, Davis. Is this?
I will admit, this is like the first box office that like hit movie that should have brought people back more. I will say that. Because everything else has been kind of like, Quiet Place 2. There's been kid movies and did Black Widow even go to theaters?
Yeah,
maybe?
It did.
Okay.
I saw it. That was the first movie I went to theaters back for. See, look at me. Look at me, Marvel and all you people. I go and support. I regret it, but I regret it.
Yeah, we do. So, I mean, I think this was like the first big one. Because I don't even think Black Widow was promoted to be big, quite honestly, compared to this one.
Yeah, Black Widow felt very much so like dipping a toe in. Like that's what I mean. Like, the movies are back. Like now, they're full blown back. You see, and Marvel was dipping a toe in with Black Widow and started being like, hey, go see it if you want, but you can also get it on our streaming service, if you feel that way. But with Shang-Chi, it's like, hey, folks are getting vaccinated. If you're not, if you're not vaccinated, whatever, but most people are, go see it or what. It was like, whatever, go to the fucking movie theater. They released that propaganda video. Like they are firmly pushing for people to go back to the movie theater. And so that, like you said, this was their big blitz to get people back to the movies, and they failed. They failed to the tune that this is the third worst debut for an MCU film ever.
After Captain America.
That's actually, it did not beat Captain America, which I knew you would try and latch onto that, you fucking cuck.
Oh, that made me happy though.
But it's not true. Because it's not true. Facts are stubborn things, Davis. In the confines of this conversation,
just from that picture of just money made, I was just like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Sure.
So
when you don't actually that's spoken so truly from the guy with diamond hands and everything like that going to the moon that doesn't understand inflation. So
yeah. We were talking a little bit about this earlier, and I had not looked at anything. I had not read any reviews. I came in fresh, mostly because we recorded, I think, the night after it came out, and you got to see it pretty early, which is awesome. And thanks to Tenno Media.
Yes, very much so. Private screening courtesy of Tenno Media. It was very nice. Great way to fly. I'm sure that, I didn't even know that was possible, and I'm sure that boosted their numbers too, but still the third worst for Legend of the 10 Bracelets.
And so I'm going around work today, and I'm talking to an employee of mine, and she went and saw it and just absolutely adored it, just loved it. And I'm like, wow, I actually just realized I haven't gotten anybody else's opinion other than James this moment. So I go online.
That's really the only one you need, baby.
And knowing how this show usually goes, and you do like things. You like things, right?
I
Yeah, you
do.
do. And so
Very
I
much
go,
so. I
and
was out
I'm
here singing the praises of last week's What If.
and so I'm thinking, I gotta inflate James's perception of a little bit. He's a good critic. He's pretty harsh, but the general public is gonna be 25-30% probably above him. So I was shooting probably between 60-70% Rotten Tomatoes, and it is in the 90s, and
Sure.
I now have to force myself to find a way to watch this within our next week before our next show, because I need to know how true this is. I need to know what side I'm going to fall on.
You don't think, Davis, that Marvel PR and those folks, you don't think the review bombing tactic cuts both ways?
I know it does.
You don't think that, especially in light of what happened to Captain Marvel, because that fans look, and I'm not even Captain Marvel's harshest critic. People are a lot harder on that movie than I am. But you don't think in the wake of that absolute fiasco that was what fans thought of Captain Marvel and what fans thought about Kevin Smith lying and then blaming the fans over his bastardized Masters of the Universe show, you don't think that they read the fucking news and got out in front of this? I work with PR folks all the time, and I can tell you that they absolutely did. I know people that have done it, Davis, for a fact. But they look at it as part of their job description.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah.
So that thing cuts both ways. So you look at
it's very obvious.
So that's why when percentage-wise something really craters on websites like that, you have to subtract more off of that, because that's in spite of the people, the PR folks out there and the paid media people to try and boost those numbers. So but again, Marvel shoved all in with this. So you can't convince me that they didn't also shove in with that to try and change the perception.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm saying, for me, I need to figure out for myself. I can't go off just James. But
of course, no, I encourage you to torrent it and pirate it anywhere you can. Do not give it your money.
No, well, you know me. I won't pay full price. Ben Kingsley, the fact that he doesn't die is already like, I think I'm already at a minus 30%. So.
Yeah, he's a major character in it.
It's so bewildering to me.
A movie in which, in one of your major fight scenes, a character stops and starts singing Hotel California. That is not a 90% approval movie make. It just ain't. Numbers don't add up. So, yeah, the third worst debut for an MCU movie. Here.
There it is.
You love to see it. And I think the Eternals will have an even harder time at the box office.
Good luck. I'm calling it now. With inflation, worst Marvel movie.
So now you're on the inflation train. Well, it's welcome. Have a seat at my table. I love it.
I know. It's going to be right behind Hulk and Captain America.
Yeah, and Thor. Don't forget Thor didn't do the greatest. Fuck you. Yeah, adjusted for inflation, the third worst MCU debut of all time. On a holiday weekend, too. God, you couldn't even wrangle extra people to see the bracelets on a Sunday when they had Monday off. You suck, Shang-Chi. You stink.
And Northern California is on fire. We can't go anywhere. So we have to go to the movies. We have to go to the movies.
You can literally go to the movies.
Everywhere's on fire. So you can't go anywhere, especially the major vacation spots. All the roads are closed. So guess what? You're indoors. You're going somewhere else.
You literally go to the movies. And you know, it's the cities that care about, more about being vaccinated have the high vaccination numbers. So like there's no trepidation about going. The ones that don't care, it's the Wild West, and you'd think they'd want to go to the movies, and yet still, it's a failure. and I hope the beginning of sort of a serving of humble pie for Marvel. And I do think that the Eternals will fail miserably. I'll go see it. I'm going to try and not pay for it. I'll go see it because I want to give it a fair review, and I want it to be good. I want the Eternals to be good. I want to be pleasantly surprised. I love Selma Hayek. I mean, she's great. So I look, you got Robb Stark, you got Jon Snow in it. Awesome.
I mean, when it comes down to it, we want
Angelina Jolie never really was my deal. But I don't go wanting something to stink. But if it does, I will root for its failure because I don't want to continue to be served crap.
Who goes to a movie and says, I don't want this to be one of the best movies I've ever seen? People
claim that about me, and that's why I say that.
Right. But it's weird because why don't you want to witness something that is just cinematic achievement? Like that is, it feels so good, and you want that for every single piece of entertainment, and then you go from there. And that's how I go into it. It's like I want the best for every person attached to that film. Like that that is your hard work, that is your everything. And I'm gonna think of it what I do, but I want it to be the next best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. The desire is, I think where things got off the rails is that the desire for the next one to be the best one turned into this droid automaton Marvel clone being like, this one's the best one since this one, and it's just like the same thing. It's like, so I can't, the instantly charts in my top 5 of MCU movies, and like, so now here it's like, oh, then what the fuck is wrong with you, and everything like that. But every time I go, I was excited. Every movie I go see, every show I watch starts with a blank slate, and I look no further than What If, which served me 3 episodes that I wasn't red hot on, and then we got episode 4 with Doctor Strange. I was like, you know what, that was damn good, and I said it was. So I call him like I see him.
And then you got episode 5.
Yes,